Thank you, everyone. It's great to be back here and to renew many old friendships and acquaintances. Jerry tasked me this evening with making a few comments on the subject of making feed efficiency data user-friendly. And for most of you, you're here to consider which bulls to buy tomorrow to take home to advance your operation. So we want to drill in just a little bit more deeply to what both Matt and Allison shared as to how you can use this data to advance your herd as well as advance the feeder cattle that you sell. I thought we might begin by just a quick review of the various terms that we've heard our speakers visit about this evening. We know that feed efficiency is not the easiest trait to understand because it really has at least two parts, right? It has both a feed intake part that the GrowSafe technology helps us to capture that's very valuable, but it also then has the output part, the gain part. Those of us that have fed cattle recognize that on closeout reports, that's most commonly expressed as feed to gain, the number of pounds of feed required per pound of gain. Further, though, Allison introduced you to a new feed efficiency measure called residual feed intake and indicate that that is the actual feed consumed minus the amount of feed the animal is expected to consume based on its body weight. So the plot thickens. It gets a little more complicated as we go. To add further interest to the various measures of feed efficiency, some breeds have chose to express feed efficiency as residual average daily gain. In other words, how much animals gain assuming they eat the same, or somewhat the inverse of residual feed intake. And so I'm here to try to make a little bit of sense out of this and maybe direct you to the number that is at least my preference as it relates to which one to focus in on when you're actually making your bull selection decisions. Because I don't know about you, but it confuses me. I wanted to start by just showing this simple model. I think it's important for us to realize that whenever we can put the measure of a trait in units of genetic differences, we can make more progress. So as this figure illustrates, the more that we can account for the non-genetic effects that cause an animal to gain or eat more or less, and remove those effects, the more we can arrive at a genetic prediction that is really true and indicative of genes that animal is going to pass off to progeny that impact how efficient they convert feed. And so I would submit to you that the more we can put both the gain component and the intake component in units of genetic difference, such as EPD, we're going to err on the side of a pure, truer estimate of what we can expect to see and observe in the offspring of the animals that we select. Those of you that know my good friend Jerry Wulf know that he has an incredible, genius way of asking the simplest, but at the same time, the most complicated, hard to answer questions imaginable. And when he asked me to talk about making feed efficiency user-friendly, I thought I was up to the task until over the weekend I began to assemble this talk and actually come forth with real animal examples in the sale. And so what I did was I started here. I just picked two bulls that were on the same page as one another, lot 24 and lot 25. And as of this weekend, I pulled the supplement sheet information that was available on these two bulls. That is the white box with the black printing in the middle. And you'll notice some interesting observations when you really dig in to trying to decide which is more efficient, lot 24 or lot 25. If you notice there, the green arrows, lot 25 had a higher average daily gain, 5.5 pounds a day, and ate less feed relative to how much that animal gained, 5.07 to 1 versus 5.42 to 1. Conversely, if you look at these two bulls, lot 24 had the more desirable residual feed intake, minus 1.31. So I emailed Jerry and said, I have this example that I want to show the crowd. And he emailed me back and said, Kent, tell me, which one is most efficient? To which I promptly responded, I don't know. So we got a really neat genetic prediction of gain, a genetic prediction of dry matter intake, and we've got then the marriage of the cost of the intake with the value of the gain. And so, Dr. Spangler, thank you for bailing me out. The correct answer, in my opinion, using Matt's technology and all available information, would be the lot number 25. I would submit to you that both of these bulls are incredibly efficient from an industry-wide standpoint. You can't go wrong either way. Matt also did one other really interesting thing. If you notice the difference in these two bulls, one of them has an index value of 106, the other one has an index value of 96. Yes. So there's 10 units difference in the index value. Matt instructs me that for each unit difference in value, that's $1 in added value to fed cattle feed efficiency. So there's $10 difference in the value of these two bulls' feed efficiency index, and if each of these two bulls produce, say, 100 calves, there'd be a $1,000 difference in the return from lot 25 versus 24 on the trait feed efficiency, as we've defined it here. So I hope that makes sense. For my money, if you want to simplify and make user-friendly this feed efficiency data, I'm really fond of the nifty index and the genetic evaluation that Matt did. I would like to leave you just with one final thought. As Wulf Cattle and the North American Limousine Foundation incorporate this into their genetic evaluation, I think it's really handy to express both the index value as well as how that relates to how animals rank over the overall population. So you can quickly understand where the genetic or the index prediction sets an animal in the population. And I would encourage the foundation to incorporate this information into their dollar mainstream terminal index. So when Jerry goes and buys calves back for many of you, he's really looking at a number of factors that I think are depicted on this slide. And the bottom line in the arrow at the bottom is he really wants to go beyond just feed conversion and really understand how the combination of genetic merit across a lot of different traits really impact the whole cattle feeding enterprise due to the genetic differences. So when he purchases a set of cattle, there's an incoming cost, an arrival cost, an arrival weight, and those animals are predisposed to gain a certain amount. Those animals then change value every day they're on feed. And they're changing value as related to not only the quantity of the carcass weight, but also the quality of the carcass weight for the given market at hand. And furthermore, we really want to take into account not only feed efficiency, but also how the animals will dress and perform on a carcass basis. And if there is one shortcoming in the way we typically express feed efficiency data, it's that it's usually on a live weight basis, but I would assume, Jerry, many of your cattle sell on a carcass weight basis. So as we strive to make this even more user-friendly in future years, rolling this all up so that we know how well animals convert feed to pounds and quality of carcass weight is really the ultimate simplification. There's a saying that says the simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And so the more we can marry these things together, in my mind, the more it makes it user-friendly for you cow-calf producers. Jerry, thank you very much.